The patch notes with the balanced reverts just came out, and the patch will be hitting in about 4 hours after this video comes out. So in this video, I will show you 5 really good decks I think will be great for the last 1 week of their remaining life in Standard. Needless to say, you shouldn't be wasting your dust on anything this soon to the rotation, but if you have all the cards or you have dust to spare, you might want to check these decks out for one last time. If you're serious about Hearthstone and you enjoy what I'm doing, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Now, let's check out the decks.
You are not prepared!
The first deck is gonna be the questline Relic Demon Hunter, which was a monster of a deck if you guys remember a few months ago. And with Final Showdown going back to draw 4 cards for your first step, it will be a lot easier to complete that. That nerf basically deleted this card from Standard for all those months, but now you will have a chance to play this beast of a deck for 7 more days before it rotates back to Wild. This deck is more of a OTK kind of deal, and you have tons of damage with your Silver Moon Arcanist, your Guild Traders, combined well with your Unleashed Fel, which is still nerfed to mana for 6 for the lifesteal part, but usually you should be fine. The Fel Barrages are gonna be dealing tons of damage, Mark of Scorn as long as you don't low roll a minion with it, and we also have Jace at the end, so you can repeat all of those juicy Fel spells one more time. With the quest variant, you actually need to be careful when you're completing your steps, because the most important part of this quest is you actually want to be getting good discounts and not just discounts for the sake of progressing the quest. You don't really want to be finishing the quest, so basically you want to be timing your discounts on actual cards you want discounted, like let's say Relic of Dimensions, Spell Power Dudes, Jace, and stuff like that. The other deck that got unnerfed is basically good old Evolve Shaman, with Gold Charagnol going back to 10 mana, and that nerf lasted like, what, 30 days or less? Like, definitely felt pretty swift revert, but I guess you guys will have 1 more week to abuse how busted Gold Charagnol on turn 2 into Blazing Transmutation was. The deck is basically the same, you have all of your good evils with Blazing Transmutations, Muck Pools, and your Primordial Waves. You have Prescience, so you can draw out all of those good stuff, and with Shadowhunter Vol'jin, you can tempo out something like Neptulon or Glug as soon as turn 4 if you're lucky. We also have a couple of Bloodlust to finish off strong, but yeah, you can literally just check out my Evolve Shaman guide from a month ago, because the deck is literally the same and the only thing that got changed was the Gold Charagnol, which was enough to break the deck, but now with the nerf getting reverted, this is gonna be tier 1 again, guaranteed. Another huge nerf revert here is Magister Downgrasp's Hero Power is gonna be honorably gaining +2 spell power again. Right now this deck is actually not that bad as well, like it's tier 2 at worst, so with Downgrasp getting that back, it's actually gonna be able to fight toe to toe with even hard control decks, so I believe that Ping Mage is gonna be very powerful once more, even though it's gonna be just for 7 days. Don't forget the entire Ping Mage package is rotating with Mordresh, Magister Downgrasp, Wildfire, and Reckless Apprentice, so if you don't have these cards already, it's needless to say you don't want to be crafting this close to the rotation, so be careful not to waste your dust on stupid things. On the number 4 spot, we can see that Quest Hunter is actually doing fairly well once more, even before the nerfs, but now we are getting Dragonbane Shot back to 2 mana, and that might be enough to push the deck over the top once again, even though the quest line is still kinda hard to complete nowadays, with the extra added requirements. This is basically right now the most popular Quest Hunter deck I could find, and the only thing I changed to fit in Dragonbane Shot was removing 2 stack charges so we can get the Dragonbane Shots in. Everything else is basically the same, and I'm not sure if this is gonna be the optimal variant of Quest Hunter after the nerfs, but I couldn't really find any 30 lists that were working well, so I went with the next best thing. With this variant you're basically running the good secret package, we have new stuff like Ricochet Shot, Trinket Tracker, and we're also abusing the Urchin Spines, which can be huge against big minions. We also have a bunch of card draw with Multicaster, Barrack Codobane, and also Furious Hell, and I guess Quick Shot in certain cases. But yeah, if you enjoyed Quest Hunter, this might be your last chance to use it to its full potential. On the number 5 spot, we have Death Rattle Rogue, with Forsaken Lieutenant going back to 2 mana only, which could be enough to actually make it a decent deck again. We did see Johnbray doing some crazy good stuff with Death Rattle Rogue not long ago, but he was using a different list, and instead of Infectious Ghouls, he was using the Mothership, and I think he also had things like Krakatoa in here, as well as Neptulon. But right now this is the only Death Rattle Rogue with enough popularity on hsreplay.net, so I guess is the best performer, and with the nerf revert, it should see a bit more power once more. These are the 5 decks I'm pretty sure should be pretty good, but I have a few more that I'm kinda skeptical about, but they definitely are having potential. The first one being Quest Mage, which if you guys remember was an absolute monster of a deck back in the day. And this variant is actually also using a bunch of the Arcane Bolt synergies, as well as Vixalis. I don't believe that this is gonna be better than Aggro Mage by any means, but it definitely looks like an interesting list you guys might want to be trying out before it rotates out to Wild. And the last deck here is actually Garrett Rogue, which I did even see on ladder not too long ago, and it did look somewhat promising, even though it did feel a bit too high rolly and not at all consistent. But now with Garrett going back, the shuffling free bleeds, it definitely does show signs of it being a great deck again. I'm sure dedicated rogue and combo deck players will figure out something crazy for the last 1 week with it, but it's probably not gonna be this exact list, even though it does look pretty interesting. We're also running the concoction package in this one, as well as field contact, so you can thin out your deck super fast, go with your spell power, and draw out all of your Garretts, so you can out-DK the opponent super fast. Other than that, we also have a few other interesting cards that also got unnerfed, like things like Kyria Fellsoul, which did see some play so you can get a second Colossal minion back in the day, so we can also see something close to that deck coming back to life again. We also have Razormane Battleguard going back to free health too, but right now Aggro Druid is not doing that well altogether, and I'm definitely sure this is not gonna bring back Aggro Taunt Druid, because the main thing that made that deck work was Drekthar as well as the 5 mana buff. We also have Kolkar Backrunner going back down to 2 mana, and it could actually get included in Quest Hunter as well, but I'm not too sure about that. With Paladin, Silverhand Recruit Paladin might be back on the block as well, with both Conviction going back to 1 mana, as well as Level Up going down to 5, and both of those are pretty solid cards for Silverhand Recruit Paladins. But nowadays, not many people will run the risk to actually leave your Silverhand Recruits on the board, so I'm not exactly sure how good this will be. We also have Cold Blood going back to 1 mana, so we could actually see some aggressive rogues going back on ladder, but I guess time will tell. Also, the Overload Shaman quest is getting reverted, so we might see some attempts on that coming back, but I'm not sure it's gonna be good enough for nowadays. Granite Forgeborn is also having its health back up to 5, and that's gonna change absolutely nothing. Demon Seed gets nerfed even harder in Standard, just so it's somewhat playable in Wild, but that still looks like a pretty sketchy thing to come back to Wild, so it might still get banned altogether. And we also have the Stealer of Souls getting nerfed too, so for both of these cards you will be able to disenchant them for full dust refund after the nerfs happen, and you can write refund into your search bar, so you can see if you actually have those once the patch hits. Fiery War Axe comes back to 2 mana finally, but that's not gonna change anything anymore. Warsong Commander, also kinda weird, so I'm not sure if this is actually gonna have some impact. I don't even remember Morshan Watchpost getting nerfed, but yeah, I think it was kinda OP for a few weeks. Ice Revenant is actually interesting going back to +2/+2, and I'm not gonna be surprised if some Frost Death Knight actually manages to abuse this somewhat successfully, but that's about it for the standard changes. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you wanna be playing when the patch comes out. If you're serious about Hearthstone and you enjoy what I'm doing, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, don't forget you can check me out on Twitch. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.